Hey guys, Welsknight here, and welcome back to Magic the Gathering Arena. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. I'm having a fantastic day. Today we're taking a look at a mono-black zombies deck for Standard. And, you know, if I'm being entirely honest, this deck would probably be better if it were blue-black zombies. But the thing is, there's already plenty of blue-black zombie video deck guides out there and stuff like that, so I wanted to try something a little bit different and just go mono-black and see how it does. And honestly, I've been pretty happy with it. So let's look at the deck. First of all, it's built around a couple of different creatures. The All-Star is definitely Champion of the Perished. It's a 1-mana 1/1 that whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under our control, we put a +1/+1 counter on it. And we have a lot of ways to put zombies on the battlefield. And then also, we have Jadar, Ghoulcaller of Nephalia. At the beginning of our end step, if we control no creatures with Decayed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. So we can create a zombie, and because Decayed means that after that creature attacks, you sacrifice it, we basically can attack every turn that we have Jadar out. We can attack with our Decayed zombie, it'll die, and then at our end step, we'll create another zombie, which then puts a counter on Champion of the Perished. I should probably mention, Jadar himself is not a zombie. He's a human wizard, but he makes lots and lots of zombies. We also have 4 copies of Tainted Adversary. It is a 2-mana 2/3 zombie with Death Touch that says when it enters the battlefield, you can pay 2 and a black any number of times. And when you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many +1/+1 counters on Tainted Adversary, then create twice that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decayed. So a 2-mana 2/3 with Death Touch is already pretty good, but if we can pay 5 mana or 8 mana for this thing, we can put a ton of zombies on the field at once because it's a zombie itself, and then it creates those Decayed zombies, so that's a lot of potential counters for Champion of the Perished. Then, going back to 1 mana, we have 4 copies of Shambling Ghast. It's a 1-mana 1/1 zombie. When it dies, we can either give a creature an opponent controls -1/-1 until end of turn, so maybe we can pick off one of their weaker creatures, or we can just create a treasure token, which helps us ramp into our bigger stuff. And then lastly, our last creature in the deck, we have 3 copies of Ebondeath Dracolich. This is a 4-mana zombie dragon from Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. It's a 5/2 with flash and flying. It enters the battlefield tapped, but the big thing is you can cast it from your graveyard if a creature not named Ebondeath died this turn. So the thing that gives this deck some teeth is we have a lot of graveyard recursion, a lot of sort of threats that are very hard to get rid of. Because we've got Ebondeath, and then over here we've got 4 copies of Crawl from the Cellar. It's a 1-mana sorcery with flashback for 4 mana. We can return a target creature card from our graveyard to our hand and put a +1/+1 counter on 1 target zombie we control. We do have a lot of cheap zombies, so we can just basically play Crawl from the Cellar, get it back if they kill it, and just put it right back onto the battlefield, usually on the same turn. We also have 2 copies of Malakir Rebirth. It's a 1-mana instant that says choose target creature, we lose 2 life, and until end of turn, that creature gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So, say, for example, our opponent is trying to kill our champion, we can play Malakir Rebirth, and we'll be able to just get it back right away. Unfortunately, it would lose all the counters on it, but it's a way to sort of make sure that our creatures are hard to get rid of. We also have 4 copies of Village Rites. It is a 1-mana instant that says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, and then draw 2 cards. Usually we're going to want to use this in response to our opponent trying to kill something. Like if they say, hey, I'm going to kill your Champion of the Parish with this instant spell, we can respond with Village Rites and just sacrifice it, and that way we get some extra value. We can actually just draw the 2 cards. And then we have a fair amount of removal in the deck as well. We have 2 copies of Bloodchief's Thirst. It's a 1-mana sorcery that we can pay an additional 2 and a black to kick to destroy a target creature or planeswalker. So it helps us deal with annoying things like Renin 7 or the new Arlen planeswalkers that are kind of all over the place right now. We also have 4 copies of Infernal Grasp, a new instant that says destroy target creature, you lose 2 life. So basically a this is removal without any real caveats. It can hit anything, unlike most 2-mana instant removal spells. This thing can hit anything, any creature that our opponent has, including manlands or just any number of things. So super good. And then we have 3 copies of Crippling Fear, 2 generic and 2 black. We choose a creature type, so we would name zombies usually, and creatures that aren't of that type get -3/-3 until end of turn. So this is basically a one-sided board wipe. The only thing in our deck that this thing would hit is Jadar, and we can usually get Jadar back pretty easily. And honestly, if we're wiping our entire board and we have to sacrifice our Jadar to do it, that's usually worth it. So this is pretty good in this deck, I think. And then we also have 1 copy of Hagra Mauling, 2 mana and 2 black to destroy a target creature. Costs 1 less if our opponent controls no basic lands. But the big thing about Hagra Mauling and Malakir Rebirth is that they are dual face cards, and we can choose to either play them as their spell or we can play them as a land. So it really kind of helps out our mana base if we're struggling to hit our land drops and stuff like that. It gives us some versatility, I guess you would say. As for the mana base, we have 2 copies of Hive of the Eye Tyrant, the black manland that adds black, enters the battlefield tapped unless we have 2 or more other lands, enters the battlefield tapped if we have 2 or more other lands, and most importantly, we can pay 4 mana to turn it into a 3/3 Black Beholder creature until end of turn. It has Menace, and when it attacks, we exile a target card from defending player's graveyard. The exile effect was not super relevant until Midnight Hunt, but now there's a lot of creatures floating around standard that have disturb, flashback, stuff like that. So we can potentially a bit more relevant now. And the big thing is it's really hard for control decks often to deal with these manlands because they rely on board wipes, sorcery speed removal. They can't hit this stuff because it turns into a creature and then at the end of turn it turns back into a land. And there's a lot of removal that also says non-land permanent, and this thing is still technically a land. So it's not hit by those either. We have 2 copies of Field of Ruin, just to deal with annoying lands that our opponent might have, specifically Faceless Haven, plus Book of Exalted Deeds, just to sort of deal with that. And then we have 17 basic swamps. So that is the deck in a nutshell. I will, of course, as always, put a deck list in the description, but let's jump into some games. Okay, we are on the draw, and we got a pretty good hand here. I'm happy with this. We can go Shambling Ghast into Jadar. So we'll keep. There we go. They're probably going to... Oh, they're going to bounce our Shambling Ghast. Okay. Fine by me. I'll just play Jadar here. They may kill it. Oh no, they just startled it instead. This is not a card that I would probably be playing in Constructed. This is really a draft card. Okay, let's play Field of Ruin. We will attack with... might as well attack with everything. Decade's tokens can't block, so we're good with that. And then we'll play Shambling Ghast, and that allows us to keep up Infernal Grasp. I should mention, if you go full control, it is actually possible to cast Village Rites on one of your zombie tokens that's decaying. Like, after it deals damage, but before it actually is sacrificed. That's annoying. Okay, so we'll go Village Rites here. Sacrifice Jadar. Draw a couple cards. Since they decided to wipe the board. And create a token. There we go. And then we've got Crawl from the Cellar. Let's get back Jadar. And play Jadar. And keep up Village Rites. There we go. Alright, we got Ebondeath. That's pretty good. That's a very annoying card for opponents to deal with. Might as well attack with our zombie. We don't really have a whole lot in the deck other than Village Rites that cares about having something around to sacrifice. So we'll just do that. And then end of turn, we'll cast Ebondeath on their turn since it has flash. So we'll flash that thing in. If they have counter spells, they have counter spells. There we go. Soul Shatter. But we get it right back. This is what I'm talking about when I say this deck is has a lot of sort of grindy options. Like, it can really kind of outgrind a lot of stuff because you have so much graveyard recursion that it can be really tough to deal with. So let's go crawl from the cellar here. Let's get back Jadar. Put a counter on Ebondeath. Play Jadar. These copies of Infernal Grasp aren't really doing much since they don't really have a lot of creatures, it looks like. What would that be? Poison the Cup, maybe? Or a counter spell? Or it could be Alrund's Epiphany. It's possible. Go ahead and attack with everything. Okay, that's fine. They gain a little bit of life from Meat Hook Massacre. But we'll make another token. They foretell another card. Could be Alrund's Epiphany. We'll just take the damage here. And we do have lethal on board if they don't have some sort of an answer to our stuff. So let's go ahead. I think I'm going to hold off on Tainted Adversary for now. Go ahead and attack with everything. They're going to divide by 0. That's fine. Bounces Ebondeath back to our hand. There we go. And then if I cast this, we should be able to pay this once and still keep up enough mana for Ebondeath to flash in. Okay, Environmental Sciences gains them a little bit of life. There aren't any instant speed board wipes. So we might have it here. Soul Shatter, okay. That's fine. Crippling Fear doesn't do much. Just go ahead and attack with everything. Gets him down to 2. Go. Now we can cast Ebondeath since a creature died this turn. Alright. Alrund's Epiphany. I'm sure they have another one. I'll take the 2. Yep. If they have an additional Alrund's Epiphany here, we could be in trouble. Because it's normally a 7 mana spell, and they have exactly 7 mana. But they're keeping some blockers back. Do they have the 3rd Epiphany? They do not. Okay, so first things first. Go ahead and cast Crippling Fear. See if they have a response. They do. So we will cast Infernal Grasp. See if they have a response to that. Trying to flunk our dude. That's fine. We can Village Rites. Yeah, let's Village Rites. Sacrificing Ebondeath. Play the Swamp, and yep, that's gonna do it. So, victory over a control deck, just able to outgrind. Okay, we're on the play this time. So, this hand looks totally fine. Probably go Jadar first. Because we really do kind of prefer to hold Tainted Adversary till later, whenever possible. Okay. Go ahead, attack with everything. And I think we should just play Adversary. And keep up Village Rites. Okay, Old Growth Troll. That's fine. I think I'm going to go ahead and Village Rites the Decayed Zombie. End of turn, so we can draw some cards. Okay, there we go. So, Champion of the Perished is great here. I think we will... Let's see, how do we want to do this? I don't really want to help them ramp. Let's go ahead and attack with Tainted Adversary. I'm fine if they block because I can Malakir Rebirth and get my dude back. And this will help us ramp, but at least we're not using any resources. So we'll go like so, and then I think we'll just keep up Infernal Grasp and Village Rites. And Malakir Rebirth for that matter. Okay, Blizzard Brawl. So here we can go Infernal Grasp and zap their troll. So the Blizzard Brawl no longer has a target. So it just fizzles. And then we still have Village Rites and Malakir Rebirth. They have nothing else. Okay, so let's play Village Rites, sack our Decayed Zombie. Draw some cards. And there's Ebondeath. So we're going to go here. We're going to go Tainted Adversary. We will pay. Puts a bunch of counters on Champion of the Perished. Attack with everything. Okay, Storm the Festival's a pretty good one, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Yep, there we go. So not too bad, beat the Ren 7 deck. Okay, we are on the play with a pretty bad hand. We have no creatures, so I think we're going to have to mulligan this. That's much better. And we'll probably get rid of one of our Jadars. So we'll bottom that. Turn 1 Shambling Ghast. Turn 2 Jadar. See what our opponent wants to do here. There we go. If they kill Jadar, we can get it back pretty easily. We're probably going to end up playing Hagra Mauling as a land. Foretelling a card, probably Alrund's Epiphany. So let's go ahead and play Hagra Mauling as a land. We'll play Champion of the Perished. Attack with everything. Decayed token dies. At our end step, we create another Decayed token, put a counter on Champion of the Perished. So this will just keep getting bigger and bigger every turn unless they have an answer to it. I'm assuming that this Foretold card is an Alrund's Epiphany. Because if it's blue and they foretell a card, it seems like it's always Alrund's Epiphany. Also, probably going to see Goldspan Dragon at some point during this game, but we do have an answer for it, at the moment, at least. Okay, Village Rites here is actually pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and attack with everything. And we're going to go Shift, Control. Hold full control, there we go. Okay, now that we've dealt damage, now we cast Village Rites. Sacrifice our zombie. There we go. Draw a couple cards. See what we get. Tainted Adversary is fine. Do I just play it here? I mean, they can't get Goldspan out next turn, so I think I just go ahead and play the Tainted Adversary. And if they want to counter it, they're welcome to. Yep, that's fine. Next turn we can get it back. Okay. Create a token. It's not an amazing answer, but it's an answer. So here, we'll go Crawl from the Cellar. Do we get back Tainted Adversary or do we get back Jadar? I think we get back Jadar. Put a counter on Champion of the Perished. They may bounce Champion if they have bounce spells. That's pretty much all they could do for one blue. And then we attack with everything. Okay, that's fine. One. If they play Goldspan Dragon, they won't have enough to cast Epiphany right afterwards, so I think we're fine here to play Champion of the Perished again. And just put it back, get a counter on it. They may cast another Cinderclasm. Which would be annoying, but not the end of the world. Because we do still have Crawl from the Cellar. See what they do here. 3 cards in hand, and what we're assuming is an Alrund's Epiphany. Burn down the house. Okay. That's fine. So let's go... Do we want to go... I think we're going to go... No, let's go Champion. And then crawl, get back... Jadar? Okay. Opponent's going to dig for some stuff. Probably looking for something that can deal with our creatures. Another burn down the house or another Cinderclasm, perhaps. Although Cinderclasm wouldn't do it. Because next turn, Champion of the Perished will have have another counter on it. Unless they shock it or something here. Well, not shock, but whatever the new light up the state... Play with fire, I think is the new one. And Malakir Rebirth is actually great here. So, let's go ahead and attack. Then we'll cast Jadar. There we go. And we still have Infernal Grasp up too if they cast Goldspan Dragon. They may Epiphany here to look for another option. Nope, another burn down the house. Okay, so let's just cast Malakir Rebirth. And I think we get back Jadar. Or I think we keep Jadar around. Because he just generates a constant threat. There we go. And of course we're punished by drawing an additional Jadar. We're also like really low on lands. But they're getting pretty low on life. Okay, Alrund's Epiphany, that's fine. So they take an additional turn. It's a pretty bad Alrund's Epiphany, honestly. It means that they're looking for answers. Okay, maybe double Cinderclasm. Oh, no. Okay, copying Memory Deluge, so they really don't have any answers at the moment, although they probably will now, because they're going to be looking essentially 8 cards into their library and picking 4, which is quite a lot. But now that they're tapped out, Champion's pretty good here. So let's go ahead and go Champion of the Perished. And then I think we... Do we attack with everything? Let's Bloodchief's Thirst you. And then let's actually Infernal Grasp you. We get to attack with everything. That puts them to 1. So they need a board wipe here. They actually need 2 board wipes. Okay. That's what, their 3rd burn down the house? Yep. That's fine. We've got another Jadar. A foretell a card. Finally draw land. Play our last Jadar. And I mean, if they've got an additional burn down the house or Cinderclasm, then like, so be it. We still have ways to get around this. I have to assume that they've got an answer of some sort. But one single target spell will not do the trick. Like if they've got a play with fire or something like that, they need a Cinderclasm or a burn down the house. Okay, Memory Deluge. See what they find. Cathartic Pyre? Okay. Do they have a 1-mana bounce spell? They do. Nice. Okay, Swamp isn't helping. But we're not dead yet. They've got, what, 7 lands? So they could play one of their Memory Deluges. Yep. Dig 7 cards deep and pick 2. It's a lot of cards. It would be great if we could draw, like, Ebondeath here. Okay, Field of Ruin doesn't help. I'm probably going to sacrifice... I'll probably sack Field of Ruin just to... I mean, it does get rid of their Hall of the Storm Giants, which is good. But I'll probably sack Field of Ruin just to thin my deck a little bit and get a Swamp out, and we'll blow up their Hall of the Storm Giants. And if they want to activate Hall of the Storm Giants here, then in response I can Field of Ruin, which is pretty nice. Okay. They get 2 turns here. So they're going to be able to hit for 8. They might have an additional Epiphany, in which case we're just dead. Yep, okay. You got me, opponent. GG. Sack this, blow up their Hall of the Storm Giants. They've got enough turns now that they can just kill us with the birds. So we'll concede. So we lost that one, but hey, you know, 2-1. And we got very close on that last game. We just couldn't quite get there. So that's the deck. I'm pretty happy with it, guys. That is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Links in the description below, so check that out as well. Otherwise, my friends, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.